Can Democrats pull off another bait and switch? Let's check it out. Welcome to Rob Schmitt tonight. As we prepare to vote in November, Americans are being sold two very familiar products. Donald Trump, a brash but effective businessman who can deliver significant change to a government that has a horrible approval rating. And Kamala Harris, selling herself as the more stable, less risky representative of the status quo. Now, the reason Kamala feels so familiar, despite never being a presidential nominee, is that Americans were sold this exact same product 4 years ago in the form of a 77-year-old man named Joe Biden. The Democrat Party is marketing Kamala Harris exactly the same way they marketed Joe Biden. Trump is too bombastic. Vote for this nice, stable, moderate that'll make government boring again and unite us all as Americans. Kumbaya. Even the pitch lines between Joe Biden 4 years ago and Kamala Harris today are literally identical.
And I pledge this to you. I will be a president for all Americans.
And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
Your choice for a Democrat is now totally manufactured, is what we're finding. This is what's become of the dual big-party American political system. In 2020, tens of millions of Americans voted for Joe Biden because they wanted to take the temperature down in this country. Trump was just too much, too exhausting, too much media scandal. A lot of that was the fault of the media. The Democrat Party gave Joe Biden, an arrogant, loudmouthed Delaware senator, a full makeover. And Joe Biden went from this.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
We do everything but hang people for jaywalking in this bill.
I think I probably have a much higher IQ than you do, I suspect.
He went from that to this.
That's something the president doesn't understand. Looking out for each other. The 1,000 acts of kindness, the decency. I've been around a while, but I've never been more optimistic about America or the American people than I am right today.
We got to heal this nation because we have the greatest opportunity of any country in the world to own the 21st century, and we can't do it divided.
New teeth and a facelift, and Joe Biden became the man who would bring America back to the moderate bipartisan utopia of yesteryear. The bait worked. Biden eked out the election in 2020, and then came the switch, and it happened remarkably fast. Immediately after winning that election, Joe Biden was radically left for the first time in his 50-year career. And it began right out of the gate at his inaugural address.
And now, a rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism that we must confront and we will defeat.
That and some equity, and what the hell happened to Joe Biden? That was a speech designed to be a unifying moment, the inaugural address. Biden's vilified tens of millions of white Trump voters. About 60% of the white people in this country, in fact. His entire presidency, his entire administration would be riddled with race baiting and radical leftist ideology.
President Biden and Vice President Harris are deeply committed to advancing equity.
The priorities of this administration: economic strength, safety, climate, equity, preparing for the future.
Giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place.
Advancing equity has to be everyone's job.
Joe Biden, the moderate, casually spewing Marxist ideology for 4 years. Voters chose Joe Biden. What they got was Obama on steroids. Biden would be a puppet for the Marxists who took over the Democrat Party in 2008. Having just been duped in 2020, though, it's hard to imagine Americans will be fooled again, especially when the scheme this time, in this year, is so patently obvious. Kamala Harris is one of the most radical politicians in America. Suddenly, though, she's spinning a moderate agenda and giving Americans zero specifics. None at the debate a couple of nights ago, none today in North Carolina, obviously because she clearly intends to flip right back to race-baiting socialism that she is handed some kind of power in this country. Here was Kamala today in North Carolina, a speech as empty as all the rest.
America is ready for a new way forward. We are ready for a new generation of leadership that is optimistic about what we can do together. A future where we build what I call an opportunity economy.
Watch the speech today. It's the same thing she said at the debate. She's memorized about 2 pages worth of notes, and she's going to say these 2 pages for the next 55 days. That meant nothing. A new way forward, an opportunity economy. These are meaningless phrases. There's nothing behind them. Turning the page? Kamala is the page right now. She wants to turn the page on herself and be the next page too? That's the plan? The desperation to showcase Kamala Harris as a change candidate is laughable, and ironically, it was only plausible because Kamala has done virtually nothing for the past 4 years. It's very easy to forget she was even there. But Kamala was feeling herself today, juiced from her heavily rehearsed debate performance where she answered not one single question. Kamala mocking Trump this afternoon for the one debate question that threw him for a loop.
He said, concepts of a plan. Oh, you all watched the debate.
They're telling you that that's likable. I don't know too many people that like that person. It's a bad look to blast that kind of arrogance out there when everybody knows that you were carried by the network that hosted the debate on Tuesday night, so obviously carried. Kamala Harris has never been popular, and nobody in her party really believes that she's capable of this. She's probably thinking right now, it's so easy running for president. She's simply the product of white guilt and America's new equity culture, more than anything. Kamala shouldn't get too far ahead of her skis. She might find herself headed for a pine tree.